Hi, I'm Cathy Thomas, Paul Cow, Executive Chef of the Burnt Group, which includes Burnt Crumbs in Huntington Beach and Irvine. Makes some of the best avocado toast around, and we're in luck. He's going to share his secrets for creating them. Welcome, Chef.
Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted, and your avocado toast is so delicious. How important is the perfectly ripe avocado?
The number one. Sometimes you get them overripe, or in our case, we've noticed that we get really underripe avocados. Here's a little tip. In the restaurants, we carry a lot of brown paper bags, we save them, we throw them in there, we wrap it up really tight, and then we go ahead and we actually put it on a proofer. Without the temperature on. We kind of leave it in there, it keeps it kind of the consistent temperature. And by the next morning, they're all pretty good.
So how do we start?
All right, we start with bread. So the bread in our restaurant is very, very important. So this is our sourdough toast. We're huge on using the right bread for the right application. Kind of like a country bread, but it has a little bit of that tang to it.
Right.
Yeah, a good amount of really nice olive oil. And we're gonna toast it pretty hard on one side. The reason for that is whatever you put on top of that toast, it's gonna probably make it pretty soggy. So you wanna get a nice kind of barrier on top. So we toast it pretty firm on one side.
And would you say it's crunchy?
Pretty
on
crunchy,
that one side?
pretty crunchy on one side. And yet on the other side, we'll toast it just for 10 seconds. So that when you bite into it, you get the crispiness and then still the tender, soft texture of the bread. In the meantime, let's go ahead and prepare our smashed avocado.
And once they're ripe like this, you can put them in the refrigerator.
Absolutely, absolutely. We store them all in the refrigerator. And the trick for this is we're not making guacamole, we're making avocado toast. So we want to keep it pretty chunky. A little bit of smoked sea salt, a little bit of regular kosher salt, and that's just to give you a little bit of bite when you eat into the avocado toast.
And your flaky salt, is that Malden?
It's Malden,
okay.
It's Malden, yes. And then one of my favorite seasonings is togarashi, Japanese seasoning, and then nice fruity California olive oil, good amount of it. We like to add a little bit of lemon juice.
And that makes it perky.
A little perky, yep.
And I assumed you were going to use a fork, but you're using the cutting edge of a spoon here, Chef.
Yeah. And that's because I don't want to dirty up another utensil, and I'm going to use this spoon anyways to spread it onto our toast. The other part of our avocado toast is our ricotta cheese. And so for us, we actually make our ricotta in-house.
Tell me how you make your ricotta.
We'll put whole milk into a Ziploc bag. We'll put it in sous vide at 172 degrees for 30 minutes. You add the vinegar inside, stir it up a little bit, let it cook for another 30 minutes. Let it cool down just for a little bit, and after that, go ahead and strain it. We have a cheesecloth and a strainer over a bowl. It'll sit there for about 10 to 15 minutes, get a lot of that moisture out. And then we add a little bit of cream just to get the right consistency, smoothness that we like. You're home, you want to add some zest, some orange zest, some lemon zest to it, or you want to add the amount of salt you want in there, if it's all up to you. So let's go ahead and put all this stuff together. We have the nicely toasted bread here. I'll go ahead and spread our avocado on top. And I like to use a spoon because it helps me get it to the edge.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. You just add however much ricotta you want on there. I never was a ricotta fan until I started making my own, but now I love it. A little bit more of that Malden smoked salt, a little bit more togarashi, and then my favorite ingredient is actually lemon zest. And my trick is I do it upside down so I can see how much is coming.
Ah, yes.
And then I go ahead and I just tap everything down. A little bit of fruity olive oil, and a little bit of micro cilantro.
It makes me drool. It looks so delicious.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chef.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's been fun,
Yep.
and you make it look easy.
Oh, it is, it is.
Here's a quick tip from Melissa's. There's a big debate about what we should eat to make us healthy. One thing we all agree on, we should eat more leafy greens. Bok choy fills that bill, and there are inventive ways to make it delicious. Try roasting it on high heat and you'll be so happy. Start by cutting each bok choy, and I'm doing kind of baby bok choy, and I cut them in half lengthwise and then put them in a big bowl of water and swish them around and then put them on a clean kitchen towel to drain. So now I just want to drizzle them with some oil, and I'm using extra virgin olive oil. And nice clean hands are the best way to toss. On to a rimmed baking sheet in a single layer. It makes the leaves crisp, almost potato chip-like. This is going to go into a preheated 450-degree oven for 15 minutes. And then I'm going to turn them over. I like a little light ginger sauce to go on top. So we're going to make that while they're in the oven. So we want to start with 1/3 cup of soy sauce, and then about 3½ tablespoons of rice vinegar, 1 tablespoon to 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. It's up to you. A couple of tablespoons of water. I'm just going to stir that to dissolve the sugar. I want a couple of tablespoons of minced ginger. I usually don't peel it because it really doesn't matter. It's so thin and it doesn't take away from anything unless you want it for appearance purposes. In goes the ginger. This is really kind of a universal sauce. It's wonderful for dipping if you're doing dumplings, and it's just delicious. Poured over roasted vegetables. 15 minutes in the oven. Look at, they're beautifully caramelized and the leaves are crunchy. Now I'm going to put on a little kosher salt. And this is going to go back in the oven for 5 minutes. Ah, beautiful. Look at that. Okay. I want a base that's going to soak up some of that ginger sauce. So a little cooked rice. And now the bok choy. Can you hear how crisp those leaves are? They kind of crackle. The ginger sauce. Bok choy at its best, sweet and delicious with different textures from base to leaf. If you want to add some protein to this dish, simply garnish with some cooked shrimp or chicken. The produce aisles are filled with so many delicious choices. Try something new, have an adventure,